The helicopter blade shrieked, sparks flying as it stalled mid-spin, and in front of 100 employees the CEO laughed and said, "Fix this helicopter, I'll kiss you right now." The hangar went silent. Every eye turned toward the janitor holding a mop, the single dad everyone ignored. And in that moment, something in Daniel Carter's chest tightened, not with shame, but with a calm, dangerous certainty that this day would change everything. Daniel had learned to live quietly. He arrived before sunrise, left long after the lights dimmed, and never complained. His hands were rough from cleaning solvents and years of manual work, his back permanently bent from lifting what others refused to touch. He was a widower with a 9-year-old son, Noah, whose asthma bills alone could crush a man. Daniel's world was narrow. School drop-offs, night shifts, reheated dinners, whispered prayers before sleep. No one in the gleaming headquarters of Hawthorne Aerospace knew that, before tragedy hollowed his life, Daniel had been something else entirely. Grace Hawthorne, the CEO, was known for her brilliance and her bite. She had inherited the company young, fought off hostile takeovers, and ruled with a sharp tongue that made people laugh when she cut them down. Today's demonstration was supposed to be triumphant, a new rescue helicopter prototype that would secure a billion-dollar government contract. But the engine had coughed, the rotor stuttered, and now the aircraft sat wounded in the hangar like a grounded bird. Tension coiled tight. Investors were present. Media cameras hovered. Grace masked panic with humor, and when she saw Daniel nearby, mop in hand, the joke came too easily. "Come on," she said, loud enough for everyone. "You look handy, fix it." Laughter rippled, uncomfortable and cruel. Daniel felt heat climb his neck. He could have walked away. He should have. But then he thought of Noah's inhaler running low, of the quiet nights when he told his son stories about heroes who didn't look like heroes at all. Daniel set the mop aside. "I can take a look," he said. Grace raised an eyebrow, amused. "Oh, and what's your experience, mister?" "Daniel," he replied, "just Daniel." The crowd leaned in, security shifted, Grace smirked. "You have 5 minutes, if you fix it, I'll kiss you right now." It was a joke, a spectacle. Daniel nodded anyway. When he climbed onto the maintenance platform, the hangar noise faded. His hands moved with a memory older than grief. He listened to the engine like it was breathing. He smelled the fuel mixture, traced the vibration through the frame. The issue wasn't the rotor at all. It was a misaligned governor and a cracked sensor housing causing intermittent feedback. A simple fix, if you knew where to look. Daniel borrowed a tool, tightened a bolt by feel, adjusted the governor angle by a hair, and reinforced the housing with a temporary brace. "Try it now," he called. The pilot hesitated, then engaged the engine. The rotor spun smooth, clean, powerful. The helicopter lifted an inch, steady as a held breath. Silence broke into applause. Cameras flashed. Someone swore under their breath. Grace's smile faltered, replaced by something like shock. She walked forward, stopped inches from Daniel, and for the first time that day, didn't know what to say. How did you?" she began. Daniel climbed down, wiping grease from his hands. "I used to design them," he said softly. Before the accident that took his wife, before the layoffs that followed when he took time off to raise a newborn alone, before pride forced him to accept a janitor's job just to keep food on the table. He hadn't told the story because no one had asked. Grace swallowed. The room watched, waiting for the punchline. Instead, she did something unexpected. She offered her hand. "Daniel, I owe you an apology." The kiss never happened. What did happen mattered more. The days that followed were not easy. Rumors spread. Some said Daniel had staged it. Others resented him. Grace faced backlash for her remark, sponsors demanding statements. Daniel returned to his shifts, unsure if he'd crossed a line that would cost him his job. Noah asked why the news was saying his dad's name. Daniel hugged him and said, "Sometimes doing the right thing makes noise." Grace couldn't sleep. She replayed the moment again and again. The laugh, the joke, the man she'd reduced to a prop. She ordered a background check and read Daniel's file with a growing ache. Top of his class in aeronautical engineering, patents cited worldwide, recommendations glowing. And then the line that broke her, employment gap due to spouse's death. She asked Daniel to meet. He sat across from her in a glass office that overlooked the same hangar. Grace didn't joke this time. She listened. She apologized again properly. She offered him a position on the engineering team. Daniel hesitated, not from pride but fear. He needed stability. He needed to be home for Noah. Grace surprised him again by offering flexible hours, health coverage that would cover Noah's treatments, and a chance to lead a small team fixing what had gone wrong with the prototype. The challenge wasn't the work, it was trust. Engineers who'd laughed now had to take direction. Daniel had to learn to speak up again, to believe his voice mattered. The prototype faced scrutiny, deadlines pressed, and one night a critical test failed hours before a board review. Daniel stayed late, hands shaking, doubt creeping in. He called Noah to say goodnight and heard wheezing on the other end. Fear sharpened his focus. He found the fault, fixed it, and made it home in time to sit by his son's bed, whispering prayers until breathing evened out. The board approved the contract. Hawthorne Aerospace soared. Grace stood at a podium and credited the team and Daniel by name. She spoke about humility, about seeing people. The clip went viral, not for mockery this time, but for growth. Months later, Daniel watched the helicopter lift cleanly into the sky, sunlight flashing off its blades. Grace stood beside him, quieter now, better. "Thank you," she said, "for fixing more than a machine." Daniel smiled, thinking of Noah, of the long road back to himself. "Sometimes," he said, "all it takes is someone finally listening." The message lingered long after the applause faded. Dignity doesn't wear a title, courage doesn't announce itself, and the people we overlook may be carrying the very answers we need.